Hey y'all, this is Miss Neo back on What's New with Miss Neo. Now, I'm not even going to exaggerate when I say this might be one of the most important BTS eras that we've seen in years. And honestly, I don't think people really fully realized how emotional this comeback was going to feel until it actually happened. Because after the reunion last year, the Arirang album dropping in March and now this ongoing world tour that started in April, this is more than just BTS being back. This is a completely different chapter of their career. And if you've been into K-pop for years, especially during that 2018-ish, 2020 BTS era, they were absolutely just dominating everything. And then their military height has changed the atmosphere of K-pop, whether you want to believe that or not. Like even when other groups were thriving, there was still this feeling that something was missing from the industry. So seeing OT7 fully being active again together, now it feels surreal. And honestly, I think this current era feels less focused on proving something and more focused on BTS just being artists again. And that's what makes the comeback hit even harder. First, I want to talk about the reunion itself because even though it happened last year, people are still talking about it. And I think that's because BTS coming back together didn't feel like just another group reunion. It genuinely felt like the return of an era in K-pop. When the members officially reunited after the military service, social media was flooded for weeks. There were videos, old clips resurfacing. You know how fans do their emotional edits. It was everywhere, all over TikTok, all over Twitter, all over these social media platforms. And Stan Twitter was definitely in complete chaos for a minute. But I also noticed something during all of that. Fans didn't seem just excited, they seemed emotional, like genuinely emotional. And honestly, I think the hiatus changed the relationship between BTS and ARMYs a little bit. ARMYs seem way more protective now, and people know that ARMYs, they don't play around when it comes to protecting BTS, they just don't. But however, they're also way more sentimental. Even small OT7 moments get huge reactions now because fans spent years wondering what this reunion era would even look like. And seeing them finally back together all again, after all that time, honestly reminded people how attached they were emotionally to BTS as a group. And I'm saying that even speaking for myself. Like the nostalgia I get watching old BTS stuff is crazy. And to see them all back together again, y'all, it hit different. And I honestly think that's because BTS reminds a lot of people of a certain period in their life, especially longtime fans. Now let's talk about Arirang, because I honestly think this might end up being one of BTS's most respected albums instead of their biggest albums. And I'm saying respected as in terms of the fans and even locals. When it dropped back in March, people immediately started analyzing everything: the lyrics, the visuals, the production, the callbacks to other eras, even the way the members carried themselves during promotions. And one thing I kept seeing online was this doesn't sound like old BTS, but it still feels like BTS. And honestly, that's probably the best way to describe the album. There was also a lot of backlash, and this was mostly from other K-pop stands, as the per usual. But when it comes to the fans, like the actual armies, and a lot of locals also really liked the album as well. Arirang, it has the emotional storytelling that people expect from them. But the energy feels older now. It feels more reflective, more intentional. And personally, I actually think the height has helped them creatively. Because instead of trying to recreate their older sound or chasing nostalgia too hard, this era feels more confident in itself. And in my opinion, and also I'm sure other fans could relate to this, without them trying, some of the songs still had the same vibes of their older album. Again, it just feels more mature. But a lot of other K-pop stans failed to realize this because they didn't even fully listen to the album. BTS knows exactly who they are now, and you can hear that throughout the album, especially in the more emotional moments. And honestly, I think that maturity is why so many fans are connected with the album so quickly. Because yes, there's nostalgia there, but it doesn't feel stuck in the past. It feels like growth. Now, of course, we have to talk about this tour because social media has basically been BTS concert clips for weeks now. And first of all, armies really went through it during the ticketing sales. I'm saying that as somebody who went through the ticketing sales. Like, I already knew ticketing was going to be stressful, but the timelines during the pre-sales were genuinely too funny. People were posting queue numbers like they were posting survival statistics. And honestly, that's very on brand for BTS ticketing. But one thing I really noticed during this tour era is how emotional the crowd reactions have been. Like, yes, people are screaming and excited, obviously. But there's also this underlying feeling of, wow, they're actually back, especially during OT7 moments on stage. And honestly, I think that's what people miss the most during hiatus. Not even huge performances necessarily, but just the chemistry between them naturally, the little interactions, the comfort they have together on stage. That's the stuff that keeps going viral after every concert. And another thing people keep mentioning online is how strong BTS's stage presence feels now compared to before, which that honestly makes sense because after years apart doing their own thing, they came back feeling more experienced individually. So now when they perform together again, the energy feels different. And honestly, I think this might end up being one of their strongest touring eras just because of that. And another thing that I've noticed this era is fans seem to be way more aware of boundaries now too as well. There's been more conversations online about respecting privacy, invasive behavior, sasaeng culture, and just allowing the members to move comfortably during schedules. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. Obviously, you're gonna still have your crazies every now and then from some of these so-called fans, but in general, I think fans are moving way better now. Because overall, this current BTS era just feels more mature in general. And I think that that's what makes this era feel so impactful because BTS isn't trying to recreate 2019. And that's what y'all got to understand. They're moving forward as artists who have been through a lot both individually and together. And I think fans can feel that authenticity, which is probably why this comeback feels so much more bigger emotionally than people expected. But I want to know what y'all think. What are y'all's feelings about the Arirang era so far? And what's been your favorite moment from the tour? Because honestly, seeing OT7 fully active again together, it still just feels very unreal to me. And as y'all already know, if you like this video, please leave a like and please subscribe. Don't forget, I will always come to y'all with the opinions and what's new because there's always something new with Miss Neo.